beginning with chapter 12 and on, chapter 12 through chapter 50 of the book of Genesis, the story begins to slow down a little bit as God begins to choose a people through whom he can build a family, through whom he can build a nation, through whom all the nations of the world can be blessed with this message coming from Genesis 3:15 that the seed is going to come that is going to crush the serpent's head. If you don't know who this family is that God is choosing, it is none other than Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. Jacob gets his name changed to Israel. It is the nation of Israel. In these chapters, chapters 11 through chapter 50 of the book of Genesis, we see that Abraham is chosen and Lot is not chosen. We see that Isaac is chosen and his half-brother Ishmael is not chosen. We see that Jacob is chosen and his twin brother Esau is not chosen. Once again, I'm letting you know that God is not a God who picks favorites, but these men are chosen. These men are chosen not because God is playing favorites, but all of these men are brought to a place where they have to express faith in God as God, and that what God says is true. We see that some of these men are younger brothers. We see that Isaac is younger than Ishmael. We see that Jacob is younger than his twin brother Esau, showing that mere physical or fleshly position does not garner us a place in the family of God. But Old Testament us, as well as Old Testament saints, we are all chosen to be in the family of God in the same way, by faith, by grace through faith. They were all brought to a place where they needed to express faith in God, and they did so, and that is how they were chosen, and thus that is also how we are chosen. Another thing I want you to notice in chapters 11 through 50 is these men were lavished with blessings. We all talk about the blessings of Abraham. We are adopted into the family of Abraham, thus we have the blessings of Abraham. These men were not chosen simply to have blessings for themselves, the same as we're not chosen just to have blessing for ourselves, but we are blessed in order that we can be blessing to anybody and everybody that we come in contact with. The Bible starts this way: in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. The first four words of the Bible, the first four words of the book of Genesis are this: in the beginning God. God, the one whose actions and purpose spring from himself alone without foreign motive or influence. He who is absolute in dominion. He is infinitely benevolent, true, and holy, the cause of all being, the upholder of all things. He is infinitely happy because he is infinitely perfect, and he is eternally self-sufficient, needing nothing that he has created. He is known fully only to himself because an infinite mind can be fully known or understood only by itself. He is illimitable in his immensity. He is indescribable in his mode of existence. He is inconceivable in his essence. And he, because of his infinite wisdom, can neither err nor be deceived. And he, because of his infinite goodness, can do only that which is eternally just, right, and kind. That is the God that the Bible declares, and thus that is the God that I declare. That is the God that the Bible declares created everything seen and unseen, and thus I declare that is the God that has created everything seen and unseen. It is God that has created all. No big bang, but a big God. With one decision, history began. Existence became measurable. First came light, then came sky, then came the earth. And on this earth, a mighty hand went to work. Oceans were scooped out of the dirt. Mountains erupted out of flat lands. Canyons were carved. Streams and rivers flowed and wound through the flat lands. God took the static electricity that was on his fingertips and flung it out into the outer reaches of the universe, and the midnight sky sparkled with stars too numerous for us to imagine. Our sun, only one of all those innumerable stars, became the sun of our planet. And our planet, tethered to that sun, invisibly tethered to that sun, races in its orbit through outer space at a breakneck speed. And still, my camera seems quite stable. You might think I'm not very stable right now, but I assure you that by God's grace and His goodness, my camera is physically stable and I am mentally and spiritually stable. Amen. Hallelujah. This is the God that created the universe. This is the God that the Bible declares. On this earth, the hand behind all of this creation is mighty, for He is mighty. And what is this might that He created with? This might is His Word. The Gospel of John chapter 1 and verse 1 says that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by Him, and without Him was not anything made that was made. In Him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. Another passage of Scripture where it declares that Jesus was there at creation is Colossians chapter 1. In verse 16, speaking of Jesus, it says, "For by Him were all things created that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things were created by Him and for Him. And He is before all things, and by Him all things consist. And He is the head of the body, the church, who is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in all things He might have the preeminence." The hand behind all of this creation was mighty. And what was this might? It was His Word.